on WICR.
We are back. That last song was a Beatles song. Great song right there, right, Gus?
Yeah, it was alright. I kind of liked it.
You liked it?
I liked
Okay,
it.
it was good. So we're gonna get into this basketball talk right now. And so there we go. 13. This is a list from provided to us from Grantland.com. 33 crazy predictions for the NBA season. This was written by Zach Lowe. This came out earlier this week. Actually, I believe this dropped yesterday. Yes, correct. This dropped yesterday, and social media just blew up. I read about this on ESPN. Heard about it on SportsCenter. Sports Nation even spoke about it for a little bit.
Now, the talking around this list was it in agreement?
It's just in shock of like the things that were mentioned on this list. And as this guy mentioned, Zach Lowe, he's done a pretty good job at writing things out that spark a conversation with people. You know what I'm saying?
I mean,
like the first one. The first one is Cleveland will lead the league in points per possession. Now that's something that I could believe. It's something that I could believe.
Now this is
and what I like about his list is that he points out things after he makes his argument. He likes to point out things that back up his argument. He doesn't just say things and just leave that out there for the world to do with the list with what they want. He backs it up with stuff. So I like that about this list.
Yes, no, but he did state that Kyrie and Love will, like everybody has been saying, they will need to make a sacrifice. Are they willing to make that sacrifice?
I think so.
I do not.
I think
feel like Bosch said because I read an article about Bosch talking about Love and LeBron.
Okay.
Bosch said that when he moved from Toronto to Miami, became a third option on the Miami offense, he was reprimanded by friends, family, the media, everyone, even fans. Why couldn't you do this? Why couldn't you do that? But Bosch said in his interview, he said, because I can't do those things anymore. I have LeBron and Wade who fuel the offense, and they need me to do certain things that before I didn't have to do, like set a pick. Like on the Toronto team, I bet you he didn't have to set a pick as often. He would just have to get open or get in the post.
Right.
Now he can't do that because they need the paint open for LeBron and Wade so they could drive.
I think it's a different story for the Cleveland Cavaliers. I think a player like Kevin Love learned to play unselfishly in his time in Minnesota.
I don't think so.
And
he was prime time.
Now the thing
he was the offense though.
The thing for Kyrie is that he's young, and the way that team has been built so far, they're building a team around him. You bring LeBron back to Cleveland, now the whole story has changed, and now the team's built around LeBron's leadership.
The thing with Kyrie is that he was never willing to take the reins. You know what I'm saying? He said so himself. He shied away from leading the team. He's really young. How can you put so much load on a young player?
Okay.
I'm not saying he's like a Derrick Rose or an Allen Iverson who only thinks about buckets, but he still needs a lot of work to do.
Okay. So that will probably interfere with their chances of doing this points per possession thing. What do you think about number 4 on this list? 33 crazy predictions. Number 4 is probably the craziest to me. The Pacers will miss the playoffs even if they keep their roster intact.
That's not crazy. That's just I want you to fill in the playoff bracket for me right now, Pyro. Go.
Eastern Conference?
Eastern Conference.
Okay. Let's do if we're doing 8 teams here.
8 teams.
Let's do 8 teams in a random order. We'll do the Cavaliers first. Let's put Miami up there. Let's put the Wizards in there. That's 3. I think the Bobcats can make it back.
Hornets.
4.
Hornets.
Oh, that's gonna get me. That's gonna get me. Let's put the Hornets in there. Where am I?
4.
Let's put
Chicago.
That's
5. Detroit. 6.
We're putting Detroit.
No.
Toronto? Okay. Detroit at a low 8 seed, maybe.
Okay. Detroit, that's
8.
6.
Are we bringing the Raptors back? Yes. I don't know about that.
All right.
Okay, let's put the Raptors up there.
Okay,
Look
7.
at that. That's 7. I'm missing 1.
You have the Knicks, the Nets, the
You know what? I'm going with Brooklyn.
The Nets.
I'm going with the Nets.
All right, so you have 8. You mentioned 8 teams, but 3 of those teams you couldn't find a spot for them. All right, so I feel like the East top 5 is sealed with the first five you mentioned. Cleveland, Miami, Chicago, Wizards, and the Hornets. First 5 sealed right there. I would even switch the Hornets for the Knicks. But you still have all of this potential for the Pacers to just overcome. The Pacers didn't lose their identity. They just lost Paul George. I'm not saying that was a big loss. And they lost Lance Stevenson. But they did gain a Ronnie Stuckey. I'm not saying he's going to do what Lance Stevenson did.
I think that this team needs to focus on Roy Hibbert.
Oh, of course.
And make him a better player. And give him the confidence that he once had. That he doesn't have now. The confidence that he had two playoffs ago. And not the playoffs. He played horribly.
Played disgustingly.
So there's that. Here's number 5. Rodney Stuckey will be their leading scorer. I believe that.
That's not outrageous, no.
That's not crazy either.
I mean, sports analysts are saying David West. They're throwing George Hill in there, but George Hill is not an offensive player. I don't even feel like they should keep him. In fact, they should trade him for a Michael Kidd-Gilchrist, a young player.
This list is just insane. As I gave you guys the link before.
I like this one. Boston will keep Rajon Rondo and trade Jeff Green.
That's gonna happen.
Jeff Green, potential teams, Wizards. Who else?
Magic.
Yes, Magic. You're looking for a team who needs a wingman. Oh, New Orleans, the Pelicans.
I think
they need a wingman.
He could go anywhere.
He's a versatile player.
I think he could go anywhere and do well anywhere. He's that good of a player. Now, proven last season in Boston, he can't lead an offense.
No, he cannot.
But he can come and help as much as he can. If he can get himself open, if he can play good defense.
If he plays behind a pure point guard, someone who's willing to give him a shot when he has a shot, and someone who can trust that he will make that shot, like a Rondo.
Let's see what happens this season after Rondo makes his return, because he's out for 5 to 6 weeks.
Again?
So
he broke
his hand.
So
we'll see what happens.
OKC is up in the air too with Durant.
Kevin Durant's injury, that broken foot. Did he break his foot or is it just hurt?
It's a fracture.
It's horrible. Now, there's a lot of interesting things on this list. Again, if you haven't checked it out, it's on Grantland.com. 33 crazy predictions for the NBA season. This guy did a great job. He's got the world talking. Look at this. Memphis will have its best offense of the Zebo era this year. Well, I'd like to see that happen.
I like this one. Al Horford's name will enter trade talks after Atlanta lost in the first round yet again to the Pacers.
We'll see what happens again. That was a close series.
Yes, but
for like 2 games, people thought that the Hawks were going to win.
I never lost hope in my Pacers, but this is what I've always said. If the Pacers playing as bad as they were, and the Hawks couldn't beat them as bad as they were, that means they don't deserve to be in the playoffs again.
Right.
They always lost in the first round. They keep losing in the first round.
We'll see what happens here. There's a bunch of lottery numbers here. It's just a great list overall. But as Gustavo mentioned before, October 29th, first day of the NBA season.
NBA East.
East? Well, it's the first game of the season.
28th, I think. That's Spurs Dallas.
Okay. So we're just counting down the days until we get to the NBA season. And things are going to pick up here at Arroz con Gandules. So our last song is going to be a salsa song. So we'd like to thank you guys for listening to another great show. Thank you to Gustavo and to all of those who support us here at WICR. So here comes the next song.